Other important news that we're tracking very closely. Well, what began as a seemingly improbable real estate ambition has now escalated into a full-blown international crisis. US President Donald Trump has set his sight once again on Greenland, and this time he isn't just asking, he's demanding. In a series of stunning maneuvers that have rocked capitals from Copenhagen to Brussels, the president has made it clear he will not back down until the world's largest island is under the American flag. To force the hands of his allies, Trump weaponized the American economy. He has announced a punitive 10% tariff on a coalition of 8 NATO nations, including Denmark, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, effective February 1st. These levies are set to skyrocket to 25% by June unless a deal for the purchase of Greenland is reached. At the heart of the strategic obsession is a remote outpost you may not have heard of up until now. It's the Pituffik Space Base, located 750 miles north of the Arctic Circle on Greenland's northwest coast. Pituffik, formerly known as Thule Air Base, is the northernmost installation of the US Department of Defense. Established in the early 1950s under a secret Cold War agreement with Denmark, it was built in a matter of months to serve as a vital ground for bombers and watchful eye against Soviet missiles. Today, Pituffik is more relevant than ever. Since renaming in 2023 to honor Greenlandic heritage, the base has become a cornerstone of the US Space Force. It houses the 12th Space Warning Squadron, operating a massive phased array radar that can detect incoming international ballistic missiles over the North Pole. In fact, NORAD has confirmed that additional US and Canadian aircrafts are arriving at the Pituffik for long-planned activities, a deployment that many now see as a calculated show of force amidst the current diplomatic standoff. The February 1st deadline for tariffs approaches. The world is now waiting to watch what exactly happens, who exactly is going to blink first. Is it going to be US President Donald Trump or the NATO alliance? Joining us at this point in time is Major General Gigi Dwivedi, Global and Strategic Defense Expert. And with us also, in fact, is Arvind Singh Tejawat, Foreign Affairs Expert. I thank both of you for joining us on the broadcast to take this very important conversation forward. And let me come to you first, Major General Gigi Dwivedi. When we talk about Pituffik, in the Pituffik Air Base, how significant is it at this point in time? Because the US president has made it abundantly clear that it's going to be either his way or the highway.
Well, Jaswari, absolutely.
Right, sir, absolutely.
Sorry, I have missed out your last conversation, but nonetheless, I have got your question. The issue is, Swari, we need to see it in a very larger geostrategic perspective. Greenland definitely has immense strategic importance because it lies so close to US and also it is under the geographic reach of currently Russia, but erstwhile Soviet Union. And during the Cold War, it acted as a major surveillance station to keep a close eye on the Soviet Union and its allies. Now, currently, why President Trump has certainly shown immense interest and ambition. In fact, if you go back point in time in 2019, President Trump had expressed his desire to purchase Greenland as a American territory. Now, if you link up with President Trump's national security strategy, which was unveiled last December, he had made 2-3 very categorical points. First and foremost, Western Hemisphere, American influence is non-negotiable. Means they will not accept any adversaries' presence out there or influence. So therefore, Greenland very much is part of the Western Hemisphere, as also the Latin America. Secondly, he also made a very important point that Europe must now look at Russia because NATO's policies have failed. So therefore, currently what he wants to convey is that in case Greenland is part of America, then the European strength, European defense will be more secure than currently what it is today. And Europe must focus on Russia and not, delve or not fiddle around with American interest in the Greenland. Now, what started as a statement, what started as a grandiose declaration, is today actually taking shape into practicality, and that has a lot of connotations, I would say, very serious connotation. Firstly, should President Trump actually use force in Greenland, then NATO countries can, they have a Article 5. And then that Article 5 means that attack on one country will be attack on other countries. So therefore, that brings US directly in conflict with NATO, and that means that NATO is almost like a death knell. Secondly, the transatlantic, relations, which have worked over almost better part of the century, will actually go into the smoke. So the point is, at this time, now there are two situations. One is President Trump has dug in heels, and he has made it very clear that he can use force because he hasn't ruled out that option. But first, he is going to pursue the tariff, warfare, which is his penchant. And secondly, how far Europe can or NATO can withstand, because without America, the NATO is nothing, and without transatlantic operation, the European Union will be very vulnerable. And we have President Putin today. He has a ambition and also a illusion that time to restore the erstwhile Soviet Union, influence on the globe, and get back into the bipartisan or bipolarity syndrome. So point is, you made it very clear that who will blink. I think in the larger sense, it still there is a space for dialogue,
Right.
and possibly through dialogue they will be able to ensure that while NATO and EU stands where it is, but also the ambition of President Trump is also satisfied to some extent. Aswari.
Right, absolutely. So let me come to Mr. Arvind Singh Tejawat. And sir, I'd like to understand from you, when you make a plethora of statements as Donald Trump has, you don't necessarily go back. Donald Trump has, of course, put those 10% punitive tariffs on Germany, on France, over Greenland. Simultaneously, of course, we're talking about the US Board of Peace for Gaza, where, of course, India has also been invited. So everything is happening simultaneously. With that being said, is there really a future of NATO left at this point in time?
I suppose I partially agreed with you that at the moment in a world order, the NATO is not having any relevance. That's why the Donald Trump earlier said that the NATO is a burden of United States. Under the Truman Doctrine, the United States really given too much financial support to the European Union, and all the countries at that moment was a part of Europe. The financial support and even the military support, and that's why the Europe survived after the Second World War. Otherwise, it was not an under capacity of a Europe to stand and to go for the development. But the Europe really did well under the direction and the guidance of the United States. Now the defender is willing to eat these countries, and the United States wanted what the United States given a support in the past, want all things and back. And as the Gandhi said, that the world is having a capacity to satisfy someone need, but not the someone greed. So now the leadership of a United States, basically when I'm referring the leadership, does it mean the corporate who is having an interest behind it? So these US corporates lobby is wanted to have the minerals and some other means the precious things like oil and everything. So that's why the Donald Trump is acting in a that way. He kidnapped someone's the country head, the Venezuela's country head, and these because of that pressure, the Donald Trump is acting against the interest of the European Union. So of course, this is true that Europe, now the NATO has no future.
Right.
And if I would like to react on your another question, that would India should be the part of that peace, the peace planners who is willing to go for the peace in Gaza. But basically, after killing us 60 or the 70,000 people in Gaza, now they are talking about a peace. So India probably will not be a part of if the United States is making another colony
Right.
with the help of Israel.
Okay.
So I don't think that it is beneficial for India to be the part of that